Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. We are from group 1. The members of this group are Vira Tri Andira, Resvi Sulistiani, Ramadhania, Berlian Nastiti, Fadillah Nurul, Salsa Ramadhania, and Devie Novitrie. In this occasion, we are going to explain about the instructional materials in English language teaching. My name is Berlian Nastiti and I am the first presenter. Material is the crucial element in teaching learning process. It means that material plays an important role in teaching learning process. According to Richard in 2001, page 251, instructional materials generally serve as the basis for much of the language input learners receive and the language practice that occurs in the classroom. In other words, instructional material is used to help teachers to do the activity in the teaching learning process in the classroom. Whether the teacher uses a textbook, institutionally prepared materials, or his or her own materials. Another explanation is from Nunan in 1991. He stated that instructional materials are an important element within the curriculum and are often the most tangible and visible aspect of it. Means that it is tangible and visible because the form of it, like in the printed material such as books, workbooks, or worksheets, or non-print materials such as audio materials or videos. Richards and Rogers in 1986 also stated that instructional materials can provide a detailed specification of content even in the absence of the syllabus. It means that even though there is no syllabus in it, instructional materials can still provide a detailed specification of content. Specifically, Johnson in RELC Journal explained that instructional materials may be operationally defined as specially designed classroom tools which contain instruction to learners and teachers. So, instructional materials is the tool in a classroom that contain instructions to learners and teachers and which specify each increment of learning, like the content to be learned, the techniques of presentation, practice and use of that content, and the modes of teaching associated with those techniques. Wright in 1986 also added that instructional materials can define the goals of the syllabus and the roles of the teachers and the learner within the instructional process. It means that here instructional materials can decide the goals of the syllabus and the roles of the teachers and the learners within the instructional process. That was all for me. Thank you.
Next is authentic vs. create material. Authentic material refers to the use in teaching of text, example photograph, video selection, and other teaching research that were not specially prepared to pedagogic research. And create material is refer to textbook and other specially developed instructional research. It means authentic material is modern material and create material is traditional material. Next is advantages of authentic material. They have a positive effect on learner motivation. They provide authentic cultural information about the target language. They provide exposure to real language rather than the artificial text found in create material that have been specially written to illustrate particular grammatical rules or discourse types. The last is they support a more creative approach to teaching. Teachers can develop their full potential as teacher, developing activities as tasks that better match their teaching style and the learning style of students. Next is critiques of the use of authentic material. Create material can also be motivating for learners. Authentic material often contain difficult language and unneeded vocabulary items. Create material may be superior to authentic material because they are generally built around a great syllabus and has provide a systematic coverage of teaching items. And the last is using authentic material is burden for teacher.
Okay, thank you for the previous presenter. Hello guys, my name is Salsa Ramadhania P and my student's number is 192120003. And I'm going to talk about kinds of instructional materials. There are 8 kinds of instructional materials. The first is printed materials. According to Collins Dictionary, printed material is material that has been printed or published. Printed materials divided into 2 types. The first is textbooks. For example, for this course, we use a textbook from choosing your course book from Alan Kenningsworth 1995. And the second is supplement materials, such as workbooks, teacher-prepared study guides, pamphlets, magazine articles, and newspapers. Next is audio aids. Audio aids can be defined as models and devices that can be heard and give an image of something, somebody, and some situation. The example of audio aids are radio and tape recorders. Next is visual aids. Visual aids are those instructional devices that are used in the classroom to encourage learning and make it easier and motivating. The example of visual aids are first, chalkboard. These materials often used when we were in elementary school, right? Second is still pictures. These materials divided into 2 types. The first, non-projected, for example, photographics and illustration, and the second is projected, for example, slides, overhead projection, and LCD projection. The third is graphic materials. These materials present summarized information and idea through drawings, words, pictures, and symbols. For example, charts, graphs, maps, and globes, and last is posters. Next is exhibits. For example, school-made displays, bulletin boards, and museums. And next is flannel board and felt board. This materials is a very beautiful way to teach very young children about the alphabet, allegorical tales, and more. A flannel board or felt board help children explore stories, use their imagination, improve fine motor skills, and open up their creativity. Last is objects, for example, reliefs and models. Next is audio-visual aids. According to the Webster Dictionary, audio-visual aids is defined as training or educational materials directed at both the sense of hearing and the sense of sight used in classroom instructions. For example, motion pictures, television, and videotape. And next is demonstrations. A demonstration is the process of teaching someone how to make or do something in a step-by-step process. Next is community resources. Kifon 1998 defines community resources as people, place, or things that can be found in all sectors of the community and can be provide teachers with teaching materials or borrow or donate. Project ideas, guest speakers, field trips, and community service project. And the seventh is language laboratory. A language laboratory is a dedicated space for foreign language learning where students access audio or audio-visual materials. And last is programmed instruction, a method of presenting new subject matter to students in carefully designed steps through sequence of instructional frames. Miller 2006. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Resvi Sulistiani. I will still discuss related kinds of instructional materials. The fourth part is audiovisual aids. There are three types. The first is motion pictures. Can be used to assist the pupils in their understanding of abstraction in encouraging thinking and thus leading them to further reflect on human relationships. The second is television. Can be used as an effective teaching tool to help build literacy skill, address current social issues, and energize classroom dynamic. The third is video type. Also can be used in increase student engagement, which in turn help boost achievement. The fifth part is demonstration. This might include models, graph, videos, etc. May be used to enhance demonstration. The sixth part is community research. There are two types. The first is field trips. Good for students because are recognized as important moment in learning as shared social experience that provides the opportunity for students to encounter and explore novel things in an authentic setting. The second is research person are experts who contribute information and opinions to participants in a learning situation. The second part is language laboratory, is dedicated space for foreign language learning where students access audio or audiovisual materials. The eighth part is program instruction is a method of presenting new subject matter to students through a graded sequence of contribute steps with corresponding activities. Types of instructional materials. There are two types. The first is textbook. There are the first main reference for the entire course. The second is usually chosen by the school. The third is reflects the minimum learning competencies for specific levels. The fourth is arranged in unit or chapter which can be labeled according to themes, topics, skills, grammar, structure, or function depending on the syllabus type below. The fifth is contains reading, teaching points, drills, activities, and tasks everyday lesson. The second is skills book. Skill book is usually accompanies the textbook provides exercises and drills on specific skills in listening, speaking, reading, and writing present reinforcement and remedial activities to support lesson in the textbook. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Fadillah Nurul F. Now I will tell you about types instructional materials. The next types is teacher's book. There are a few things contained in teacher's book. Number 1, contains a detailed rationale for textbooks. Number 2, explain the scope and the sequence for the lessons. Number 3, includes introductory notes on how to use the textbooks, specific objective for each lesson, and suggested strategies for teaching the lessons. Number 4, provide guidance in planning the lessons from materials to suggested activities. The next type is walk test. There are few things contained in walk test. Number 1 combines the features of the textbooks and workbook. Number 2 provides teaching points like those in the textbooks. Number 3 reinforce the teaching point with many drills and exercises like those that contain an E to Z or practical suggestion for teaching. The next type is Module and Self-Learning Kit or SLK. There are few things contained in Module and Self-Learning Kit. Number 1, more interactive than the other types of written EMS that appear in the workbook. Number 2, develops independent study through self-paced instructions. Number 3, contain post-tests, pre-tests, lesson inputs, exercise, and drills provisions for self-paced learning. The next type is references book. References book provides general information on various topics, include encyclopedia, dictionary, atlas, manual, and etc. That's enough for me. Thank you.
Next material is Rules of Instructional Materials. Will be explained by me, Devie Novitrie, and my students numbers 1921224. Worth 1995 summarizes the role of materials, particularly course books, in language teaching as a number 1, research for presentation materials. Number 2, search of activities for learner practice and communicative interaction. Number 3, reference search for learners on grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and etc. Number 4, search of stimulation and ideas for classroom activities. Number 5, syllabus, whether reflects learning objectives which have already been determined. And the last, support for less experienced teachers who have been gained in confidence in the language classroom. Dunley, Vance, and John 1998 argues materials serve the following functions such as number 1, as a search of language, number 2, as a learning support, number 3, for motivation and stimulation, and the last is for reference. Thank you very much from me. The next material will be explained by the next presenter.